Hi everyone, this video is going to be a book review about a book called Practice Perfect, 42 Rules for Getting Better at Getting Better. It was written by 3 teachers, Doug Lemov, Erica Woolway, and Katie Yezi, if I'm pronouncing it right. So this book is almost like a piggyback off of Doug Lemov's book, Teach Like a Champion. So basically, Practice Perfect is a book about the art of practice. A lot of people practice things, but they do not truly practice a thing. So for example, let's say, okay, I'll use me as an example. I do art. There's art everywhere. Like, look, art. My art up there, my art up there, like, art everywhere, okay? So, me, as a child, I just kept trying and trying over and over and over and over again to get better at art. And eventually, I did get there. But I use a certain method. Like, I use the same method over and over and over to get better at art. So that was my form of practice. But I could have become even better if I had varied the different methods of practice that I use. So instead of just drawing with my right hand all of the time, maybe I could draw with my left hand. Instead of drawing at a certain time of the day, I could have drawn at another time of the day. Or I could have used a material that I wasn't familiar with to create an art piece. And as I kept using that, my weakness would get stronger. Something of that nature. So their premise was that a lot of people practice, but they don't practice correctly. They're practicing their mistakes repeatedly. And when you practice your mistakes repeatedly, it's going to show up in your performance. Sometimes you'll have to get out of your comfort zone during practice instead of doing what is good for you or what you are talented at. Hold on, I'm plugging up. So most of the examples they use were from teaching because obviously they are teachers, they're educators. So they trained teachers all over the United States in their methods, and they had different schools training their teachers on how to teach students, to get the teachers to make mistakes during practice. A lot of people are afraid to make errors, and because they are afraid to make errors, they make them during their performance when it could have come out in practice. Practice reveals to you not only what your weaknesses are, but also what your mindset is. You might be so focused on one aspect of, let's say, a sport, like, oh, defense, 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 defense all the time, but you never practice offense. And what's interesting about this book, Practice Perfect, it kind of coincides with another book I'm reading right now, which is called Smarter, Faster, Better, by Charles Duhigg, and I'm going to make a review about this one. But there's one chapter in here that really relates to that book, and it is called Focus. And it talks about how you can be so focused on something because you believe it's supposed to happen in this particular way, is the way it's always happened for you. Like, you're driving a car and your route is the same, nothing changes, so you're not prepared for something out of the ordinary because you are in that routine mode. And sometimes when we're in that routine mode, when something simple comes our way, like a simple error, we panic and we do something stupid. Like in the chapter Focus in this orange book, where the pilot or the co-pilot didn't know what he was doing even though he had piloted a plane a billion times before. But he was panicking so much he forgot the simplest things that he had practiced before. And he ended up crashing the plane into the ocean and killing everybody on board, including himself. So I would recommend Practice Perfect to not only educators, but just for somebody who really isn't motivated, ironically. Like some people, they won't be motivated because they're afraid of making a mistake on the way to being motivated. They're afraid that this one error is just going to prevent them from getting to their goals. But in actuality, the more you fail, the closer you get to your goals. I have failed a billion times on my goals, but I never stop because I know that eventually I'm going to get to my goals. So instead of beating myself up, I just find a new way. I'm like, okay, you tried it this way. Either try it this way again to see if it'll work a second time, or try another method. So as you fail, you start trying different methods until you are so sophisticated in all sorts of methods that you become a master at what you have failed at. That is why practice equals permanent. Because I say not perfect. Practice equals permanent. Because you are ingraining it into your mind and into your body. It's a very inspirational book. And at the back, they have a list of all of the little code names they use to help the teachers, like strong voice and whatever they called it. I don't have the book with me right now because it's at the library. So sorry if I'm pulling at strings right now. But they had different techniques and they would call them different names so that it could be fast. Like you don't have time to explain what a technique is. If you name the technique, people will automatically do stuff. It's like a cheat sheet. It'd be like strong voice, lift up the chair, chalkboard. It's like, okay, I know how to do strong voice. I know how to do chalkboard. I know how to do lift up the chair. Okay. You don't have to say, you have to lift up the chair and do this and blah, blah, blah. Everybody has their language. Everybody has their code names. And that also helps with practice. Practicing in confined situations also helps you become better at your art form. Some of the greatest works people have done may have been like when they're confined to a bed, or they're confined in prison, or they're just in a mental state where they're just depressed and all they have is their craft. One of my greatest beats that I did was when I was in a horrible living situation and I was just losing money. I was so stressed and I was angry, and I ended up doing 6 major art pieces that year and publishing 2 books in 1 year with all the stuff going on. Because now I'm on the battlefield now. When you're placed on that battlefield for performance, you'd be surprised what would come out. But you have to practice it first, because you don't know how far you can go unless you test yourself. So that is the book that I am reviewing today. The next book that I'm going to be reviewing is this one, Smarter, Faster, Better. I will take notes this time so I can be more concise. I'm also reading this book, which is really good. It's called Redemption, Martin Luther King Jr.'s Last 31 Hours, and it came out this year. So I'm going to try to bring, I'm going to start reading newer nonfiction books so that came out this year, so that you can get them and review them yourself. So thank you for watching this video, and talk to you later. Bye.